Hey everybody, welcome to today's training, the new SEO Checklist, 16 proven ways to help your clients get found online. I'm Justin, one of the co-founders here at SiteSwan, and I'm really excited about the session today because it covers something every SiteSwan reseller and every web designer can really benefit from no matter how long you've been building sites. Speaking of which, I want to share something with you. I don't think I've told a lot of you before, and that's back when we first started SiteSwan in 2011. That's right, 14 years ago. We set out to prove the business model of selling websites to small businesses. We sold like 50 sites in like 6 months, just pounding the phones, cold calling, cold emailing all day, all night. And I remember there was this one dance studio that I reluctantly called because their site was pretty nice. But when we started speaking, she goes, "Oh, thank you so much for calling. I'm in a tough spot with my site right now." And I said, "Oh, why is that?" And she said, "Because I can't get my site to come up in any searches I do. It's like the site is invisible." And here I am smiling on the other side of the phone. As a salesperson, by the way, you have to know when to shut up, which, despite what my wife thinks, I assure you I know. And then she goes on to say, "It doesn't matter how beautiful your site is if no one can find it online." I'm like, well said. I proceeded to steal that line from her and have been using it ever since because it's so true. There is nothing more important than the design of the website, than its ability to be seen by the search engines. And that is what we call search engine optimization. Search engine optimization, also known as SEO, it can sound a little bit intimidating, but the truth is it's not rocket science. It's just a bunch of small, smart things done consistently over time. And when you do them right, they compound, which is what helps your clients get found online and helps you look like a pro in the process. Now, before we dive in, quick reminder, if this is your first time joining us, and I'm telling you for the first time, there is a questions tab in the bottom, somewhere down there or down here. I don't know. But it's a question mark inside of a circle. My moderators will reply to you directly, and they'll flag me if there's something I should answer live that everyone can benefit from. And at the end, if you feel like you'd love to hear a lot more about something we discuss, I'll be taking comments on what our next long-form webinar should be. Okay? Also, for anyone who's new or not yet a SiteSwan client for that matter, we have this thing called the SEO Checklist that's available in the resources section of your SiteSwan dashboard. And the reason we're doing this session today is because this list is recently updated and improved. This checklist has now 16 items, and we're going to go through them all right here, right now, breaking them into little logical bite-sized sections for you. So grab a notebook, mute the notifications. Let's get into it. For those of you who are just signing on, you haven't missed anything yet. We're about to dive in right now. All right, the first 4 items that we'll be discussing today is going to make up section 1. By the way, questions tab, just do me a favor, just say hello, make sure I can see you, you can see us or hear me or whatever it is. Just a quick little note in the questions tab. Thomas, thank you. Who else? There's a lot of you here. Steve, Mike, what's up, man? Denise, hi. All right, cool. Andrew's here. Jason, thank you. Thank you. 2 Jasons. Brian's here. Excellent. Keep it coming, guys. Want to make sure you are familiar with that questions tab because that's how you ask questions. By the way, you're only going to see what you type in. Yes, this is live. It's October 24th, 1:05 p.m. Eastern. And I want to make sure you know that only we can see your responses designed that way so there's no cross chatter and confusion or distractions from this very important topic. So, as I was saying, this first 4 items that we'll be discussing, they make up section 1, which I'm calling the foundation. Okay, it's the stuff that every successful website needs in place before you do anything else. Think of this like building a house, okay? You wouldn't decorate or paint or even talk about that stuff before pouring a solid foundation, right? These first 4 items are those structural pieces. The first is picking a good domain name. The second is making sure the business's address is visible. The third is writing search-friendly content. And then finally, adding your SEO meta tags. If you get these right and you give Google a clear picture of who the business is, where they are, and what they're up to, which is exactly what helps them show up in search results faster and higher. So let's start with the very first building block, which is the domain name. Now you might be thinking, didn't we just do a webinar on domain names? Yes, we did. But it's also step one of the SEO checklist for a reason, and that is because Google pays attention to domain names. A clean, branded, relevant domain signals credibility before a single line of text is ever read. Think of it like a storefront sign. You wouldn't open a shop called bestplumber247.biz.ly and expect walk-ins. So when you're helping a client choose a domain, go for short, memorable, and on brand. If you can naturally include the business name or a main keyword plus location, even better. A couple of examples for you: smithplumbing.com or bestdenverplumber.com. It's a small thing, but it builds a huge amount of trust. Next up. That was fast, right? It's number one already. Next up, number two is the business address being visible. This one's easy to skip, but it's actually critical for SEO. So when Google sees a full business name, address, and phone number, what we call the NAP, N-A-P, name, address, phone number, even though you don't say the P sound in phone number, whatever, you get it. If it's perfectly consistent across your website, your Google business profile, and directories, that consistency builds search engine confidence. On the flip side, if one version says Smith Plumbing Co. and another says Smith Plumbing, or if the address uses street in one place and ST in another, yes, those are minor, but ultimately those do make a difference as well. The consistency you establish builds search engine confidence. On the flip side, if you were to, what was I about to say? Uh, so I want to actually raise a suggestion. If you pick one exact version of your client's name, address, and phone number and make it appear everywhere, you're in good shape. And even if they work from home, okay, and they don't have a business address, let's say they're a carpet cleaner or they're an electrician, they don't have a physical storefront people walk into, still encourage them to use their home address. The search engines love to see physical addresses because they'll always reference physical location as a primary factor in determining which business to recommend to someone who's conducting a local search. So just follow this simple rule. If you want to show up in your community, your address needs to show up too. Now, this next one is where a lot of people overthink things, and that's crafting SEO-friendly content, number 3 on our list. You don't need to be a copywriter or SEO expert to do this well. You just need to think like a potential customer. There's a very simple formula to this. It's business name plus main service plus location. That is it. So instead of saying, oh, we provide the best services in the community, no, just change it to ABC Roofing provides expert roofing services in Dallas, Texas. That small change tells Google exactly who you are, exactly what you do, and where you do it, all in one sentence. And you'll want to sprinkle that combination, business name, service, location, throughout the homepage, About Us page, and any services pages. But do not keyword stuff, okay? Just write naturally and just make sure those key elements show up. Search engines love clarity and not clutter. Here we go, number 4. Last one in this section, adding SEO meta tags. So I want you to think of meta tags as your site's secret handshake with Google. They do not appear publicly on the page for anyone to see, but they do tell search engines what your page is all about, and they show up directly in search results. Your meta title and meta description are basically your ad copy in Google search listings. So instead of letting them default to something random like home, welcome, take 60 seconds to fill them out with purpose. Okay, I have an example for you of a Denver plumber. The title might be Emergency Plumbing Services in Denver, Colorado, Smith Plumbing. A good description would be, need a reliable plumber in Denver? Smith Plumbing offers 24/7 repairs, water heater installs, and drain cleaning. Top 3 services. Call today for fast service. See how clean that is? Keywords, location, and a clear value proposition. No fluff. You should have meta tags on every, let me repeat, every page of your client websites. And on SiteSwarm, with every site you create using our themes, we pre-populate every page with optimal SEO meta tags automatically. Of course, you can still edit them both on a site-wide basis and even on a per-page basis to further boost performance. But if well-crafted, meta tags are on every client site. If you do that, I guarantee that their click-through rates from Google will improve. Okay, so let's recap here. Your 4 foundational pieces are to get the domain name right, show the business address consistently, write clear, local, friendly content, and add your meta tags. If you nail these, you've already done more SEO than 90% of small businesses out there. So now that the foundation is in place, let's move on to the next section, which is building connections. This section is all about linking everything together, connecting your client's website to their social media, to their visuals, and to the search engines. You can think of it kind of like running the plumbing and electrical in this make-believe house that we're building, okay? These next 4 items are where your client's site starts interacting with the rest of the internet, telling search engines, hey, this business is real, active, trustworthy, come check it out. We'll cover connecting social media profiles, adding alt tags to site images, using proper heading or H tags, and submitting sites to search engines. These are all simple, high-impact actions that make a website truly complete. So let's start by talking about connecting your clients' social media profiles, item number 5 on our checklist. I know it sounds obvious, but this one gets missed all the time. Adding social icons that link to a business's real pages, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever. All these platforms that they actually use send strong credibility signals to Google. And just as important, make sure it's a two-way connection, please. That means each social profile should also include the client's website link in the bio or in the contact section. This kind of consistency reinforces brand legitimacy. It tells Google and the visitors that this is a real business with a real online presence. One quick tip, always test your social links before launching a site. There's nothing worse than a Facebook icon that just links to facebook.com. It's embarrassing and it's silly. And if a client doesn't have social accounts yet, well, guess what? Use that as an opportunity to upsell them. Upsell them on setting up a Facebook, an Instagram, or whatever as an add-on service. Next up, number 6, adding alt tags to images on the site. Now, this one might feel technical, but it's not. Alt tags are simply descriptions of what's in an image written for search engines and screen readers. Now, remember, Google can't see an image the way we can yet. So it depends heavily on what you tell it. File names also matter. So if you upload a photo called image.1234.jpg and leave the alt text blank, you're basically hiding that image from search visibility. Instead, rename it and add a descriptive alt tag that naturally includes your keyword and location. So for example, right here, we got roof repair service in Denver, Colorado. Work that into the file name as well. Now, alt tags don't just help with SEO. They also make your site more accessible for visually impaired users. And after all the screaming I do at my kids, I think I'll be visually or audibly impaired as well. That doesn't make sense. That's good practice and also good business. And think of it this way. Every image is a chance to be found in Google Images. So every image that you put on a client's website is a chance to be found in Google Images. And yes, a lot of Google image searches are conducted every single day. Your job and responsibility is to give the search engine something to read. Give your clients every opportunity to be found, even in an image search. All right, next up. Number 7, using proper heading tags. H1s, H2s, H3s. Now, I know this sounds like nonsense, but I'm going to show you. It's really just structure. Okay, headings is it is in fact a type of code. It gets embedded into the site, completely invisible to site visitors like you and me. And they tell Google what's the most important aspect of each page. And they can help website visitors skim the content more easily. So ideally, every page should have one H1, that's your main title, use 2 H2s for subtopics, and then H3s for details under each subtopic. So For example, your homepage H1 might say top-rated roofing contractor in Dallas, Texas. Then your H2s could be residential and commercial roofing and emergency repairs. Then under the first H2, residential and commercial roofing, your H3s might be roof replacement and skylight replacement. Then under the second H2, emergency repairs, you might have your H3s be siding and gutters repair and roof leak repairs. So in this chart, this top one is your H1. I should have labeled these. This layer is your H2, and your teal is your H3. The idea is pretty simple. It's just keeping one clear hierarchy per page. And just like with your content, make sure that your main keywords like the service or location, they show up naturally in the H1, please. You'd be amazed how many people put welcome to our website as their only H1. Don't do that. Google can't and won't rank welcome or website. Okay, thanks. Next up, number 8. This one's quick. I'll show you how it's done too. So even though search engines will eventually find new websites on their own, manually submitting your client's website can get it indexed faster, especially right after launch or right after a redesign. So let me take you for a very fast demo inside the platform so you can see what it looks like. All I have to do is do this. All right, so what you are going to do, I'm going to walk you through this. It takes one click. All you do is go to the dashboard, you find the sites drop down, and you go to search engine submission. From this screen, all you have to do is simply choose the site that you want to submit. There's a drop down. You're going to choose the site, and then you're going to choose your frequency, and you're all done. It's a tiny step and a very small investment that can save weeks of waiting. I recommend the monthly option, which will continue to ping the search engines every 30 days, essentially resubmitting the site regularly, reminding them to give this site some love and attention. I think that's a song. And yes, you can build the cost of that service into your monthly service fee. It's a small thing, okay? But it adds real value to your clients, so it's super easy. All right? So those 4 steps, they're all about building connections. All about building connections. You're going to link to your social profiles both ways, back and forth. You're going to add descriptive alt tags to every image. You're going to use proper heading structure on every page. And you're going to submit your site to the search engines, which just takes seconds. These are all simple wins that make your client's website more legitimate, more discoverable, and more credible very, very fast. Now, we've covered the foundation and what the heck's happening here? And the essential connection points that make every website solid and functional. Now I'm just going to display these out of order for you. It's time to shift gears and talk about what I like to call the improvements and upgrades, which is section 3. Might as well just show all these now for you. If we stick with our home building analogy, these are the premium upgrades. So think of it like the nicer flooring, the high-end fixtures, the luxury appliances, okay? They're not part of the standard build, but they're the elements that make a home feel truly finished and add real value. So in the same way, what we're about to cover are value-adding enhancements for a client's website, things that go beyond your standard website package. These are premium services you can and should charge for because they require ongoing effort, strategy, and expertise. And here's the good news. These aren't just extras. They're fantastic upsell opportunities. Think of them as ongoing services keeping your client's website alive in the eyes of the search engines and in the minds of their customers. So the next 6 items on your checklist are all about showing the search engines that your client's business is active, trustworthy, and engaged with its audience. You've probably read all these by now, so I'm not going to. No, I will. Claiming and optimizing a Google business profile. There's some of you who like not even watching, just listening, so I'll read it for you guys. Starting a blog. I know you're not watching. I know some of you are out there just like, oh, I'll keep this on in the background. I don't have to watch what he's doing. You're not watching me mess up either, so you're really missing out. Starting a blog to share fresh, relevant content, getting listed on local directories, and staying active on social media. In addition to encouraging positive reviews and adding service or location-specific pages. We get a lot to unpack here, and each of these is a revenue opportunity, practical, high-impact upgrades that deliver real results and justify a premium fee. So let's get into it. Number 9 on our list. We're coming out swinging in this section because it is very powerful. It's claiming and optimizing your client's Google business profile. Now, if you've ever searched for a service and you've seen that map with 3 local businesses listed right at the top, that's what we call the Google Map Pack. And you can't show up there unless you have a Google business profile, which looks like this. It's free. It's fast to set up. But the real value comes from doing it right. You want to completely fill it out. Business name, address, phone number. What do we call that? The NAP. Plus hours, photos. They actually offer you a lot more. Photos are often overlooked, as is website link. Guys, you can add your website link to your Google Business profile. Make sure you do it. And then it's important to keep that active and updated. That means creating posts, responding to reviews, and uploading fresh photos regularly. That activity signals to Google that your business is alive, it's trustworthy, and it's worth showing to more searchers. Now, this is where the opportunity comes in for you, okay? Most agencies charge at least $199 to set up and optimize a Google Business profile. And if you're managing it on an ongoing basis, posting updates, I think I'm about to show you an animation that's going to be out of order. Yes, I am. Deal with this for just a second. I want you to imagine this in your head, and I'm going to show it to you in just a second. Most agencies are charging at least $199 to set up and optimize a Google Business profile. That's what I use. That price point's what I use. If anyone asks me to set up their business profile on Google, it's always $200. And if you're managing it on an ongoing basis, that means posting updates, monitoring reviews, and keeping it current, you can easily charge a few $100s per month for that service. And to make it even easier, we have a Google Business Profile Setup and Optimization Guide available exclusively for SiteSwan resellers, and you'll find it in the resources section of your dashboard. And here's the pricing I was talking about: $199 setup, several $100s per month for the ongoing maintenance of the profile. This is high value, relatively low sophistication in terms of effort, and it builds ongoing revenue and helps your clients win more local customers. Next up, let's talk about starting a blog. And when I say blog, I don't want you picturing full-time content team or daily posts. I'm just talking about adding one good, relevant post once per month. Something that answers a real customer question or ties into a seasonal need. I want you to think of each blog post as another door into your client's website. Every article you write gives Google one more reason to send people there. Some quick examples: 5 signs you need roof repair in Denver, Colorado. How to choose the right divorce lawyer in Dallas. 5 reasons why Smith Plumbing is the best plumbing company in Denver. These kinds of posts work well because they are specific, they are local, and they're genuinely useful. And notice how they all include the service keyword, location, and sometimes the business name, just like the formula we recommend when crafting search-friendly website content. What do you know? Applying the same approach to your blog topics reinforces SEO beautifully. And here's the best part. Inside SiteSwan, you can add a blog in just minutes, and every post you publish gets indexed as its own page, giving your client more chances to rank for long-tail keywords. Now let's talk about the business opportunity here, because this is a fantastic way to build recurring monthly income. Most agencies charge anywhere from $149 to $249 per month for writing and publishing a single blog post. That includes research, writing, formatting, and posting, all of which position you as the client's long-term marketing partner, not just their web designer. Even if you only manage a handful of clients, offering blogging as a monthly add-on can quickly turn into a steady, reliable revenue stream. Next up, number 11 is getting listed on local directories. This one's not the most glamorous, but it is pretty powerful. So getting your client listed on sites like Google, Yelp, Bing, Apple Maps, and even a few industry-specific directories builds what we call citations. Say it with me, citations. A citation is just a mention of your client's business name, address, and phone number. Yes, again, that NAP from earlier, NAP. And those mentions act like trust signals to Google, helping confirm the business is real, legitimate, and active. The key here, though, is consistent information. The NAP info on those listings should match exactly with what's on your client's website. That means same abbreviation, same phone number formatting, same everything. And don't just stop at the big directories. If your client is a lawyer, get them on Evo. If they're a contractor, House or Angie. If they're a restaurant, TripAdvisor. Each listing reinforces credibility and adds another backlink, which helps boost rankings over time. Now, here's where you can turn this into recurring revenue. Most agencies charge around $99 per month to handle local listings management, keeping everything accurate, monitoring new directories, and ensuring the client's information stays up to date across the web. It's one of those set it and forget it SEO steps. There aren't many of them that keeps paying off for years, and it's a great service to bundle with your other monthly SEO offerings for steady, dependable income. Next up, adjacent to local listings is being and staying active on social media. Now, you might not think of it as SEO, but it absolutely supports SEO. When a business is active on platforms like Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn, sharing updates, photos, testimonials, or blog posts, it creates engagement signals that Google really pays attention to. Plus, it drives real traffic back to the website, one of the strongest indicators that a business is relevant and trusted. The key here, once again, you're going to hear me saying this a lot, is consistency, but also in this case, frequency. Posting once every few weeks isn't enough to move the needle. Aim for at least 1 to 2 quality posts per week, something short, local, and actionable like, I don't have a visual of this, but I'm going to read it off to you. Got a leaky roof? Don't wait until it gets worse. Our team at Smith Roofing offers fast, affordable roof repair in Denver. Learn more at smithroofing.com. That right there is short, it's direct, and it drives people from Denver to the website. The golden rule is don't post just to post, though. Every piece of content should connect back to the client's brand, services, or expertise. And I know I mentioned it before, but make sure their website URL is in the bio of every platform. You'd be amazed at how many people just completely skip over that. Now, from a business perspective, this is another fantastic upsell opportunity. Most agencies charge between $2.99 and $4.99 per month to manage a client's social media, which typically includes creating and scheduling posts, writing captions, selecting images, and monitoring engagement. It's a highly visible service that delivers real value to clients, keeping their brand active online and provides you with a steady stream of monthly income. When you combine social media management with other SEO-related upgrades like blogging or listings, it becomes a complete visibility package, one that's easy to sell and consistently profitable. Next up in this section is something that has huge influence, which is encouraging positive reviews, number 13 on our list. Reviews are the modern day word of mouth. When someone searches for a local business and sees a profile with 50 5-star reviews versus one with 3, guess which one they're calling? But reviews don't just build trust with customers, they also directly impact local SEO. Google's algorithm, for example, looks at 3 key factors: quantity, recency, and the quality or average star rating of the reviews. And also, to a certain degree, the quality is measured not by the average star rating alone, but also by the context of the reviews. So if it's just like 5 stars with nothing there, it's difficult for them to effectively take that into consideration. And just as important as the reviews themselves are the responses. But before I get to that, I want you to encourage your clients to make review collection a regular, ongoing part of their process. So that means after a job well done, send a thank you email or a text with a direct link to their Google review form. They have to ask for reviews to get them. Now, I was starting to touch on this, but responding to reviews is incredibly important because whether it's positive or negative, I don't care. You got to respond to everything. It shows Google and potential customers that the business is engaged and cares about feedback. Inside SiteSwan, you can even use the built-in reputation management tool to request and track reviews automatically. That's an incredible feature that you can bundle into your services, saving time for your client, making you look proactive. Bottom line, folks, more reviews equals more visibility, which equals more leads. Now, here's where you can really add value and generate recurring revenue. Most agencies charge between $99 and $199 per month for reputation management services, handling review requests, tracking responses, and helping businesses manage their online reputation. And margins are great on this. We only charge less than $15 a month per client per month, so it leaves a ton of room for profitability. Let's wrap up this section with number 14 by talking about adding service or location specific pages. Now, most businesses start with one services page or maybe an areas we serve page, and that is super important. But if you want to take it to the next level and go the extra mile, really help your clients stand out in search results, then create individual pages for each major service or location. The reason is because Google ranks pages, not websites. So if you split an all-encompassing services page into dedicated ones like roof repair, roof replacement, gutter installation, now you've just created 3 different opportunities for that business to show up in search. And the same goes for locations. If your client serves multiple towns, you can go the extra mile and give each town its own optimized page. For example, divorce lawyer in Dallas and divorce lawyer in Fort Worth. This structure helps Google understand exactly where and for what your client should rank, and gives you more URLs to share, promote, and optimize. You don't have to do it all at once, though. Start with their most important services or most competitive locations and build out from there. Now, here's the exciting part. Another premium upgrade you can easily monetize. Most agencies charge around $99 per new page, and that can add up fast, especially if you're building out 5 or 10 new pages for a client. It's one of the simplest, most profitable ways to increase your project revenue while delivering a major boost in SEO performance for your client. All right. So that rounds out our improvements and updates section number 3, which again, to recap, you're claiming and optimizing the Google Business Profile, adding a blog, getting listed in directories, staying active on social media, collecting positive reviews, and adding service or location specific pages. Do these consistently and you'll help your clients build what I call SEO gravity, the natural pull that brings customers to them without having to push ads all the time. In the next and final section, we'll talk about how to expand and maintain with the right mindset to keep results growing. So we're in the home stretch now. We've laid the foundation, we've built the connections, and we've discussed upgrades and improvements. And now in this final section, section 4, it's all about expansion and mindset shift. In our house analogy, we're painting accent walls and picking out furnishings and window shades. These are the finishing touches that help your clients go from doing okay to dominating their local search area, and the mindset that separates good web designers from great ones. Because while the technical stuff is important, the long-term wins in SEO come from patience, consistency, and smart strategy. So in this section, we'll talk about promoting your website online and offline, and the importance of being patient and setting real expectations. Let's start by talking about promoting the website both online and offline. Guys, SEO is powerful, but it's even more effective when you combine it with active promotion. Every touch point is a chance to drive traffic. Online, they should be linking it from their social profiles, as you mentioned earlier, in the email signature, as well as if they're running Facebook ads, Google ads, or even local website sponsorships to get visibility, it's got to be there. In the offline world, the web address should absolutely be on business cards, flyers, brochures, service menus, signs, vehicle wraps, invoices, everything. And QR codes are a great modern way to connect physical materials to digital destinations. Add one to a menu, a brochure, or a yard sign. Make it super easy for people to just scan and visit. The more you get the website in circulation, the stronger it becomes. Think of it as creating awareness loops that every time someone hears about the business, they know exactly where to go next, which is the website. And to bring this all the way back to the very first point I made about domain names, make sure the domain you help them pick is short, simple, and easy to say out loud. That's how you know it's working both online and offline. Now, there's also revenue opportunities here as well. So many SiteSpawn resellers have shared with us their success designing and printing business cards and brochures with QR codes, charging hundreds or even thousands depending on how many print pieces they got printed. Many are running Google ads, running Facebook ads, charging many hundreds per month. So many different marketing solutions that small businesses need, and there's a way for you to service each and every one of them and get paid for doing so. All right, we're up to the final item in our checklist, and it might be the most important, and that's exercising patience. I've seen resellers and clients both get frustrated when they don't see instant SEO results. But the truth is that SEO is a long play. Google rewards credibility and history. New websites need time to build trust, just like new businesses do. It could take weeks or even months before rankings really start to move. I mean, think about it, okay? What right does your client site that's brand new, what right do they have to jump above websites that have been around for a decade? None. You've got to prove your worthiness to the search engines, and that can only come with time. So the good news, if you're following these best practices consistently, the results will come, and they'll last longer than any paid ad campaign will. Inside SiteSwan, you can set up your site to send out website performance reports automatically every single month. And in those, they'll show traffic, visitor trends, and engagement. And these reports can go right into your clients' inboxes automatically, and you can use them as proof of progress because you'll oftentimes see incremental progress going up from month to month, and those check-ins will really help them understand the progress they're making. Even small upticks in traffic over time, they really tell a story that SEO is working. So remind your clients that ranking well is like building a reputation. It takes consistency, not shortcuts. And the businesses that stay patient, they're the ones who win big. All right. There you have it, folks. This is everything we just discussed, beautifully laid out for you. All 16 elements grouped into their sections. Everything we discussed is about setting a good foundation to building connections, adding upgrades, keeping results strong over the long haul. And if you take anything away from today, let it just be this. SEO isn't about hacks or tricks. It's about care and consistency. Quick wins do not result in long-term benefits. The checklist we went through today is simple, repeatable, and even something and for the sake of repeatable, meaning you can do a lot of these activities over and over and continue to help your client continue to earn revenue. This checklist down here is in your SiteSwan dashboard in the resources section. So if you're an active paying client, you will find it right there, right now, updated, looking all fancy. Make this a part of your process, okay? After every site you launch, run through that checklist. It might take you 15 minutes. It's one of the easiest ways to add value and look like an expert. All right. Let's open it up for Q&A. Find the questions tab. Post your question there. A couple of you have already done that. I'm going to get to those first and pile on. By the way, well, I'll save this comment for a couple minutes from now. All right, I have 3 questions so far that my team asked me to look at pronto. The first one is, what about AI optimization, since AI is competing now with traditional search engines? Great question, Tim. So Tim is saying, well, look, people are starting to use sources like ChatGPT and Gemini to ask questions that they might have otherwise previously used a search engine for. And what's really interesting, if you haven't noticed this already, Tim, is that in the results that like ChatGPT and Gemini give you, they will cite the sources for their answers. So yes, it is. ChatGPT is knowledgeable if you ask it like, "Hey, what's the origin of the Ankylosaurus?" Okay, it's going to be able to give you that factual information. When it comes to which tree trimming company should I utilize to cut down my Douglas firs, that is information it's going to scour the web for. And if you have blog articles on cutting down Douglas firs as a tree trimming company, you are going to be linked to and referenced in a ChatGPT response. Long story short, SEO, traditional SEO is, and I think for a very, very long time in the future, the foundation of the knowledge of these AI platforms. So while they make it easier to ask the questions, they're ultimately just making it easier to answer the questions using information that exists on small business websites. So everything you're doing on this checklist will help your clients get their name mentioned in AI search results. Brian says, I've created newsletters and podcasts. I currently have them on their own pages on my site. Should they be on the blog page instead? Well, Brian, I think you can answer that question by looking at statistics. Is anyone coming to the newsletters page or to the podcast page? I'm not saying that the blog page in particular is something like the name blog is super important. The blog articles I'm talking about building are all just pages on your site. Whether they're named podcast or newsletter doesn't make a difference. But if they're getting traffic because they're well written, then you're up to you. Leave them where they are. Or if you want to consolidate them all, consolidate them. But I'm not saying that the fact that something is named blog is going to necessarily get you a ton more attention in the search engines than by leaving it where it is. All right, we have a question here from Sammy who says, how would we lay out multiple location pages for the same service on a site? Would all of them be shown in the navigation or just linked directly on posts and blogs? Great question. So one of my favorite techniques is to combine those two. So in my example of cutting down Douglas firs as a tree trimming company, you would write an article or blog article about that service. And then within the article, you embed verbiage that says we frequently, whenever we are cutting down Douglas firs in Contra Costa Valley, Contra Costa County, we're always, and then you link up the words tree trimming or trimming Douglas firs in Contra Costa County, and then that is the page that you're now going to create as an area services page. I do not generally suggest that you are going to list all of your town specific, area specific pages visible on your navigation bar. They're going to be too long usually, and they're not going to be really helpful to people who are looking to get the search engines to find it. So it is important that you link internally, but not from the navigation where everyone can see, because it's not something people will often be looking to frequent for, consuming that knowledge. Okay. Sammy says, what is the best traffic tracking tool to use that'll help us prove results to our clients? There's so many: Google Analytics, Clicky, ProRank Tracker. I haven't actually heard of some of those. But I don't know. I mean, if you ask me, the built-in statistics tool that we offer inside of SitesOne is probably your best bet. There is no cost to it, and you can set it to drop into your client's inbox every day. I don't think one is necessarily a lot better than the others. I will say that the simpler it can be for a non-technical person to consume that data, the better the solution ultimately is. Michael says, does Google recommend virtual address? I have an accountant lead that doesn't want to use their home address on Google. Is just listing the city and state enough? Well, Michael, it's something. It's something. I know that Google has had a history of rejecting addresses that are like those virtual mailbox places. So I don't know if I can outwardly suggest or recommend using a virtual address. Having a city and state is better than nothing, but I would always, always, always prefer that the business has a physical address. I don't know what the accountant is really too worried about, unless I guess maybe an accountant is somewhat more likely to have someone show up at their door. Like I think there's a lot of national brands that have physical locations, and maybe that's what they're thinking. But it's not a perfect solution. I would always prefer a physical address no matter what. A similar question, Wendy's saying, I have problems with clients who don't want the town where their business is located listed throughout the website in H1, H2, or H3. They feel like people in other towns, counties won't bother contacting them. Well, to that I would say, where would you prefer your clients come from? Would you prefer that they come from the immediate area, or would you prefer that they come from further away? Your solution there, Wendy, I think, is to say, look, My professional recommendation is to focus on your potential clients who are within an immediate, whatever you want to call it, 5-mile radius. And that 5-mile radius consists of our local town. So that's what I want you to focus on primarily. But if you do want to pay attention to the people who are in other areas, we'll put a section on your homepage that says we service all of these areas and list out those other towns. And then you can have them each link to their own respective pages on the site that talk about the service they're providing in that town. So now you can get them better results and also win an increase in the project scope by creating these additional pages on their site. All right, Mike says, what are your thoughts on this? I do 2 additional things. I submit their sitemap to Google Search Console for indexing, as well as adding the advanced schema markup to their sites. I don't charge extra for it. It's all inclusive. So I like Google Search Console a lot. It is something you can do and set up. It is, I believe it's free. For some people, they find it a little bit tricky because you have to add like a TXT record and stuff like that. It's not critical, but it's something you can do to get a better insight into the types of things people are typing in to be able to find your client's site. So yeah, you definitely could do that. Nothing wrong with that there at all. And if you wanted to grant them access to those reports inside Google Search Console, you could. As for the schema markup, I don't know. I'm yet to see a really good example of schema markup doing anything significant in terms of getting a small business website significantly better results. So I am not all on board with schema. I'm not completely sold on going through the trouble of adding that code and stuff like that for what ultimately feels like a very small benefit when sites are already so good at getting local search results. Sean says, recently we've had clients that were not able to get Google verified for a Google My Business page. Any advice? Yeah, Sean, I would advise that you play a role in helping with that. I find that the Google Business Profile interface for establishing a business can be confusing to novices, people who are not technically savvy. Steps can be skipped, and it's not clear how you go back to get to those steps. From my understanding, there is an auto verification service so that if they already know something about your business, that's helpful. They can reference your existing website. So you got to make sure that the contact information on the website is accurate and up to date. And when you input the web address, oftentimes it'll reference that and allow you to verify a little bit faster. So definitely don't try and get a Google Business Profile page verified before the website is live. Having the website live first is very, very important in my personal experience. What I want to know is, are there any topics that we discussed that you feel you would like to see a long form webinar on? I'd be curious to know that because then we can plan for our next one. We already have a couple of ideas of what we might be doing, but if your feedback tells us something different, then we can certainly explore that together. Okay. What else? What else? My moderators, do I have anything else I need to answer before we tidy up here? I have a couple more things I want to say before we wrap up. Steve wants to hear about prospecting, cold calling. Cool. I was actually curious if Steve, anything within what we've discussed, you feel like you wanted more detail on? Any one of these 16 items. By the way, if you'll notice, I did highlight that the ones that are truly on site, because I actually didn't touch on this, but there is a common notion of on-site SEO versus off-site SEO. And like on-site SEO is the stuff that's easiest to handle when you're the web designer because you have access to all that. So just to kind of give you another point of differentiation besides these sections and everything else is I've annotated the ones that are truly on-site SEO with a star. So these are all things you're 100% in charge of just by having their website the keys to their website, essentially. Everything else I would consider somewhat off-site, where you have to go somewhere else or do something else in order to get it done. Maybe I should have started this one submitting sites to search engines because it's built into the SiteSwan dashboard, but technically that's, involves a third party. All right, let me just check to see what other questions before I wrap up. Let's see. Ida War says, how do we add several backlinks to a website? So backlinks to a website. So backlinks, the definition of that for guys if everyone who doesn't know, is when another website out in the wild has your website link on it, making it capable of being clicked on so they can come to your site. So when you have a backlink, people referring people to your site, that is regarded very highly by the search engines. And one of the ways you could achieve that is by doing what we said, which is getting listed on local directories. So all the local directories that you're going to list your client's business on are going to have opportunities to put in a website link. If you want to be even better at this, visit our sister company, idealdirectories.com, and you can set up your own directory and create backlinks for your clients, which is a cool way to bonus your clients. Idealdirectories.com. Someone's asking if we can add schema markup to an individual page instead of site-wide. Yes, but generally speaking, schema markup is more like details about the business, which wouldn't really change from page to page. So maybe just on a homepage would do the trick. All right. Okay, I'll answer this last question from Sammy, which is when we create blogs, do we post them to the client site only or to actual blog sites? So Sammy, I don't know what you would refer to as a blog site, but if it's quality content, post it anywhere you possibly can. The the short answer is when I say blog post, I'm referring to their website. But if there's a place that you can post articles written that they wouldn't mind that you're posting a link back to your client's website and you're willing to do that work to find those places where you can post them, then go for it. Absolutely. All right. Does that help answer it? I hope so. Remember, guys, SEO is simple, but it's not. Okay. I want to take a minute to thank you for spending some time with me here today. I hope this session gave you clarity and confidence that'll help your clients get found online a little better, a little faster. So keep doing the little things right, and I promise they'll turn into big results over time. For those of you who came late or who wanted to watch a section of this again, when I click End Event, a replay will automatically start from the beginning. So if you want to dive back into any section of this and absorb it again, you absolutely can. With that, I want to thank you, each and every one of you, for being here with me today. I hope you all have a very happy Halloween if I don't talk to you before then. For those of you who are active clients, the next time we'll be getting together for a session together is going to be, looks like on the 6th of November, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, looks like the 6th of November. We'll be talking about the 14-day launch plan. And if for those of our clients who have not yet gone through the 14-day launch plan, make that your job for this weekend. 14-day launch plan. All right, everybody. Thank you all so much. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you later.